it is taking place again at the time when we want to give a chance to the Syrian people, to the Syrian parties, to try to have some type of dialogue leading more beyond just a conflict. And it's not by coincidence, frankly. We had it today. Why? It's not a precondition, but let's be frank. Let's be very honest among ourselves. The fact that in Astana and before, between Turkey and Russia in December, there was an agreement to actually include in their agreement a substantial attempt to bring a ceasefire on board in Syria, has been helping, is, I hope, going to continue helping what is then a political process. Even if, frankly, there is still some difficulties, it is still fragile, but it is holding by and large. And we would have not been able to have these talks if there was a breakdown of the ceasefire. Now, regarding your question about Astana, you're very right. You're very right. It is important to qualify because sometimes there is a combination. We mean what we say. Astana has been and is a very positive initiative. There's been now Astana 2, yes, Astana 3, and we will hope that there will be more of Astana. Their job, their mission is a very important one. It is about the ceasefire. Ask the Syrians. Ask the Syrians. They will tell you this is the priority. A ceasefire, then of course you can have the talks. Any negotiation can take 2-3 months, 2 years perhaps, but with no bombing, no shelling, no fighting, totally different. So it is a very important task, and it is their task, and a specific surgical task, not a political one, because then you enter into an environment where 3 countries, 4 countries cannot make that. And it requires the UN, and the UN has the mandate. And I think this is well understood. So Astana, ceasefire, confidence-building measure related to it, including possibly humanitarian access, because the 2 things are linked, or even some type of initiative regarding war prisoners, anything that is linked to ceasefire. Intra-Syrian negotiations, what we are planning to have tomorrow. The Syrian parties have been arriving, and are expected to be all here by tomorrow. Tonight, most of them, tomorrow, perhaps one more, depending on visas and travel. It was a very I was there when the resolution was discussed, negotiated, and then adopted. So it was a very delicate touching and go in order to be able to give a guidance which I am going to follow, and I did follow. Now, regarding the subjects, the agenda, again, 2254. If you look on the paragraph, operative paragraph number 4, it speaks very clearly. 1, the establishment of a credible, I'm quoting 2254, I'm not making it my own wording here. The establishment of a credible, inclusive, and non-sectarian governance. 2, a schedule and process for drafting a new constitution. And 3, free and fair elections pursuant to the new constitution, administered under UN supervision to the satisfaction of the governance and the highest international standards. Well, these are the 3 areas, we can call them baskets if you want, in which we intend to lead the discussions among the Syrian sides. On the constitutional side, since it has been often referred to recently, let me be clear, I think because that was a request I got from many Syrians. The drafting of a constitution is the sole prerogative of the Syrian people, not us, not anybody else. Not us, nobody else. Clearly, such a process should be as inclusive as possible and include the various components of the Syrian society. Tomorrow, Tomorrow morning, we will be having bilateral meetings with those who have been coming, either today, this afternoon, this evening, or tomorrow morning.
Their vision.
Inclusivity. We have a mandate to be as inclusive as possible. I've been trying, by following carefully 2254, to do exactly that. But there is a category of people, important people to us, to the UN, who have not been so far included sufficiently. One are those who represent 51, if not 52% of the Syrian people, the women, Syrian women. I've been asking the delegations to include substantial numbers of women. I don't think that will be, unfortunately, the case. I see names of very highly qualified women among those who have been suggested to come, but not enough in numbers.